Hello and welcome to Youth in Agriculture, and as always, this is where I bring you diverse farming stories from across the country, where we get to show you what is happening on the ground in the farming sector. Today we are coming to you from Latia Agricultural Solutions, where we will be learning all about capsicums farming. And if you like pilipili hoho, and this is one of the most lucrative horticultural production here in the country, considering that it has a ready high-end market. I will now be taking you to one of those greenhouses where an agronomist is waiting for us. This is Youth in Agriculture, and my name is Susan Wangi. So come with me, the agronomist is right inside where he is waiting for us. But before that, I've been given this PPE to wear, and I've been informed it's because of my own safety and also to avoid bringing in diseases from wherever it is that I'm coming from. So Judy, thank you so much for having us today, and we want to know who Judy is and where you're coming from to be an agriculturalist.
I'm Judy Wailimo Mwangi, and we're at Latia Agribusiness Solution. And in Latia we have a college or an institution known as Latia Agripreneurship Institute. As I was growing up, I was brought up in a family that was doing farming. My mom has been a farmer, and I guess that is where I got the passion from. We have been doing farming, we can't say that much, but I got that passion, and I felt that there is a gap in the community or in the society. And if we can be able to pursue agriculture and pass the skills and the knowledge that I'll gain to other people, it will be something that will be very important. And as I was growing up, I always was asking myself one question: when I grow up, what will be my impact to the community? That is why I found myself in this field of agriculture, and I'm very happy because I have impacted to many youths. Okay, I have trained several youths. Maybe I can't be able to quantify, but I'm very sure there are over 2,000 youths who have met, both people who are graduates from different universities. They come here, they come with the knowledge part of it, but they lack the practical skills. We impact them with the skills, the practical skills, and we also help them secure jobs. I have also contributed in helping maybe around 20 youths to secure jobs in different firms, and something that makes me to be very happy. In this greenhouse we are having capsicum. Ukipenda, the local name watu wengi wanaijua HOHO, pilipili hoho. And with this capsicum we are having the colored ones, that is red and yellow, that are grown in the greenhouses. We have the common ones, which is green, that is grown in the open field. Okay, for the two varieties, they tend to be a little bit different from the green ones, because we are saying that they're very specific when it comes to color. We're going to have, once they mature, they'll turn the color to yellow, and the other one will turn to red. Then we have the normal one, the green one, that is grown in the open field. It still remains green.
For us to understand more about the kind of spacing that is required, maybe you can tell us the size of this greenhouse and what is the population of your plants.
For the spacing and the population of your greenhouse, you have to use the ideal spacing. We have different spacings. When doing the spacing, do the ideal spacing, because if the population will be very high, you overpopulate your greenhouse. You're going to have cases of fungal infections because the crop will be very high, and the humidity and the temperatures will tend to be hot and humid. For our case, we majorly do the spacing in between the rows. We do 60, then from one plant to the other we do 40. We are having a greenhouse of 8 meters. Now with our spacing, you just have to work out so that you can know the plant population. So we are saying that if you're doing a spacing of 60 by 40, with a 60 by 40, you're going to have 4 plants per square meter. Then you multiply with your area.
For somebody who is thinking about capsicums farming, what kind of ecological region should they be thinking, should they be looking at, and also what type of soil is really good for capsicums farming?
When we talk about the greenhouse, we talk of controlled environment or protected environment, whereby you can be able to manipulate some of the weather conditions. So even if you come from very cool regions, if you do a greenhouse, the only thing that you'll do, Depending with your locality, you have to choose the type of greenhouse that you're going to construct. If you come from a dry place, the shape and the design of your greenhouse will not be the same from the people who come from cooler regions because of the way the weather is. Like for our case, we're in Kajiado. You tend to see that our greenhouses they're a little bit taller and we are having the top vent to allow the air circulation. And also if you check on the sides, we are having an insect net that allows free air movement. Capsicum will do well at soils that they're well drained. It doesn't like waterlogged soils. Also the pH has to be ideal, and we say that most of horticultural crops do very well in slightly acidic to neutral pH. If you're having issues with the maybe alkalinity or acidity, you'll be given remedies on what you can do, and you're going to correct your soil and you'll be good to go. On the issues with the drainage, there are several ways you can work with. You can work to your soil and you can improve the drainage. For example, you can do organic matter like manure, and your drainage will be improved because you're going to improve the soil structure and you'll be good to go as a farmer.
So what is the process of planting capsicums? Do you just sow the seeds? Do you go through a propagation process? Take us through the planting process of capsicums.
Okay, for the capsicum, they start in the nursery. You have to propagate your seeds. So we do the propagation ourselves. So for our case, we do it in a propagation unit, whereby we use the soilless media. We use the cocoa pit. So we source our cocoa pit, we treat it, then we put it in trays, the seedling trays, then we sow our seeds. And something unique about the capsicum, unlike the other horticultural crops, it takes more time to germinate. Mostly it will take around 14 to around 21 days to germinate. Then in the nursery, you manage them well in the nursery by managing diseases, pests, and ensuring that you're feeding your crops and they're healthy. What are the things that you're going to do to our greenhouse before we transplant? So we have to prepare the land. We have to come, if there was a previous crop, we can plow our land. And something that we have to ensure, if you're planning to plant capsicum in this greenhouse, the previous crop should not be capsicum, because you must be having the crop rotation, because we are using the soil. So you do crop rotation, and you do not do a crop that was in the same family with capsicum like tomatoes. So you do a very different crops. You can rotate, you can just come, plant cabbages or sukuma wiki, and you plant in a way that you're not leaving any space. Unlike when we were planting we will be planting our capsicum. With that, you'll do the crop rotation. Then after that, you come and plow your land. You can decide that you're not going to harvest your sukuma wikis. They're going to be, just cut them, you chop them, and then incorporate them in the soil. They act as green manure. When you're doing the plowing, before you do the actual plowing, we said that if you had done sukumas and you're planning to do them as green manure, that is when you introduce your manure before you do plowing. And you spread your manure evenly and well decomposed manure. You can choose to use the goat manure or chicken manure, the type of manure that you have, but it has to be well composted manure. Then after that you plow. We said that you give it a duration of 5 days. Then you come and you form the beds. Our soils are having more of clay particles, so the drainage is not that good. So that is why we raise our beds to a height of about 15 to 20 centimeters. And if possible, we even do it higher in the greenhouse to around 25, to allow the roots to get enough area so that it can feed well. After preparing the beds, we do the drip alignment, we do the watering very well. Then we come with our seedlings and we transplant them. During transplanting, we applied manure when we were plowing, so we will not do manure again, but we will do fertilizer. Apart from fertilizer, we will do any other material that is required. For our case, we plant using DAP. We also do gypsum, calcium sulfate, and apart from that, we also do something else known as Panoramax GL that helps in the root system and development of the root hairs. Then after that, we mix them thoroughly with the soil. Then we transplant our seedlings. After doing the transplanting, you can see that you're having the support for our capsicum. You introduce it as early as the first week after transplanting, so that utapata crops zako hazijaanza kuanguka kama umechelewa kuja kufanya support you're so late. So what are the management practices that you'll do? One, you're using a normal greenhouse, you must do the weeding. Ensure that your greenhouse is free from weeds, because you say that weeds harbor pests, and you find that some pests act as vectors of mostly the viral diseases. So by ensuring that you're not having weeds, you're also going to avoid competition in your farm. Apart from that, you need to check on the watering. You have to give your crops adequate water, or enough water. Unaisha hujazinyima maji na hujapea excess. So you have to be very careful when you're doing irrigation. Apart from that, you have to control pests and diseases. For the capsicums, the main pests are thrips and mites. We do integrated pest management. And you can see we are having them. Each and every stem is having something like this. They're known as Swiss mites. The Swiss mites are predators to the normal mites, so they'll feed on the other mites. Then apart from that, we're having the blue traps, the sticky cards, and we have the roller trap. Different pests, they're attracted to different colors. So you're going to have cases of the thrips, there'll be more. Also, capsicums will be affected by a white flies, and that is why we are having a yellow sticky trap. So, because the white flies tend to be attracted to the yellow color. So for diseases, we also integrate. Anytime you're doing any chemical in this greenhouse, it has to be compatible with the natural enemies. So we also control diseases like downy and powdery mildew.
Thank you so much for keeping it on Youth in Agriculture, where we are learning more about capsicums farming at Latia Agricultural Solutions. We will be taking a short commercial break, but don't go too far. We will be back in a short while.